Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Careers to Entertain, a speaker series where we explore different pathways in entertainment and showcase our very own Cal State LA alum in the field. I'm Terry Lopez, chair of the Cal State LA Entertainment and Arts Alumni Network and advisory council member on the CSU Entertainment Alliance. Our speaker series aims to benefit alumni and current students to enrich our community with personal and professional tools to help you succeed in the industry. A little bit about myself. I'm a CSULA 2003 alum and currently work as Director of Inclusion and Equity at the Writers Guild of America West, where me and my team work with producers, studio and network execs, agents and managers, and writers to advance diverse representation across the industry. The Entertainment and Arts Alumni Network's mission is to foster and support a dynamic community of alumni in performing, visual, film, TV, and media arts. We want to build bonds of camaraderie among alumni and to champion lifelong involvement with Cal State LA and serve as a resource for graduates to maintain mutually beneficial relationships, advance career goals, and support our shared passion for our respective crafts. We are so excited to learn from our featured guest speakers, but before we start, I'd like to go over a couple of housekeeping rules. First, please be aware that this session is being recorded. During the program, feel free to ask your questions in the Q&A feature at the bottom of your Zoom screens. Since we are among friends, we also encourage you to say hi to your peers in the chat and drop your LinkedIn or social media handles. You will receive a link to the recording after the webinar in the next few days when it's available. Now, a little bit about our guest. It's my pleasure to introduce Brenda Victoria Castillo, President and CEO of the National Hispanic Media Coalition, and Cal State alums Cruz Castillo, Felicia Mora, and Leila Rezvani, all from the NHMC. The NHMC's mission is to educate and increase Latinx visibility from policy work in Washington, D.C. to media advocacy work in Hollywood. And it's really my pleasure to say that Brenda's work and her staff and their writers program is the reason why so many Latinx WGA members are part of our guild. So thank you for that, Brenda, and your staff for that continued work. And I will now hand it over to Dr. Kristiina Hackel, MFA, Chair of the Department of Television, Film, and Media Studies at CSULA. Thank you and welcome, everyone.
Thanks so much, Terry. It's such a pleasure to have all four of you here today. You have an extraordinary organization, and Brenda, I read your updates and your email blasts practically every day. So I'm very familiar with the work that you all do, and I thank you for it. It's very important work. So I have bios that I'm going to go through. I've had to brutally cut them because you all have done so much great work. So I'm just going to spend a little time talking about each of you and the work that you do at your organization at the NHMC, and we can then get into some questions, okay? So for starting with Brenda. So Brenda obviously serves as the first woman president and CEO of the National Hispanic Media Coalition. Brenda is a Native Latina woman, an activist, feminist, and national strategic leader, and a renowned speaker in diversity and inclusion, digital rights, hate speech, media, civil rights, and social justice. She's a big believer that digital rights are a human right and that there's a very real correlation between hate rhetoric and hate crimes, and that tech companies should be held accountable for disinformation on their platforms, just like your email this morning. You're a member of many, many boards, which I will not go into, but let's just say they're very impressive boards that involve civil and human rights, the National Hispanic Leadership Agenda, and many other important things. You're an Emmy award-winning producer. You're a media production director. You have decades of experience. You produce the 10-year-old Latinx Stream Showcase, which we'll talk more about. You have one of the oldest diversity writers programs in the industry, and you have a horror short that just won some awards in a festival. So congratulations to your creative work and all the work that you do. We also have Felicia Mora, the Director of Programs and Special Events. Felicia does all the planning and logistics at NHMC, all the events from inception to completion. And over the past 6 years, she's assisted in rebranding and improving all sorts of things regarding the events, from casting, producing the Latin Stream Showcase, all kinds of work and connecting and coordinating. She is a 4th generation Angelino. I love that, 4th generation Angelino. And you were a Cal State Fullerton grad, and you did your degree in American Studies with a minor in art, and first in your family to graduate from college, 1st gen. So thank you so much for joining us. Also, Felicia. Leila Rezvani is the Partnership and Development Manager, and you first joined NHMC back in 2019 as a volunteer, which is amazing, and then moved into an Executive Assistant Fellowship. And then you volunteered all throughout your time at Cal Poly Pomona, right? Where you were basically teaching at the preschool level and supporting Latinx Spanish-speaking families through ABA therapy for children with autism. And then you did that for 2 years, and then you went back to NHMC, which is amazing. So Cal Poly grad, and you were very active in your Latina sorority, which is amazing. And you're furthering your education and pursuing a degree in communications. You're from Diamond Bar, and you come from a Mexican, Persian, Irish background. And so welcome also, Leila. Cruz, you're a Cal State LA grad, so, you know, love all y'all, but Cruz, props. So you were a part of the teams, you're the External Relations and Digital Media Manager. You're part of External Affairs, and you create networks and build bridges with organizations, individuals, and the community, and you do social media, and which is very important. And you work before in NBC Universal and CTV Canada. And so all of you bring amazing years of experience. You grew up in Whittier, one of many in your family to graduate from university, which is awesome also. And you did your BA here in interpersonal communication, and you're also a graduate from the Institute of American Indian Arts, where you did an MFA in creative writing. So amazing. All right, what a wonderful group. 3 Cal State grads and a president. This is like fantastic. So I'm going to get into some questions. We want to learn all about National Hispanic Media Coalition, and I'm going to start off with Brenda.
Go ahead.
No, please tell us all about your organization, the mission, and why it was started. Talk to us about why it's so important.
Okay, so it's such a pleasure to be here, and thank you, Terry, for your kind words, and thank you to the team. As you can see, I only hire university students from Cal State system. But anyways, NHMC is a civil and human rights organization that was founded to eliminate hate, discrimination, and racism towards the Latino community. We educate and increase Latinx visibility from our policy work in Washington, D.C. to our media advocacy work here in Hollywood, where we collaborate, create, and connect Latinx talent with the entertainment industry. At NHMC, we focus on all forms of media, and that's also including social media, streaming platforms, because it is one of the most influential and powerful institutions that shape society's attitudes, values, and beliefs. So we're a unique organization because we do a lot of work in Washington, D.C. Why? Because the decisions that are made in Washington affect Hollywood. And then Hollywood and entertainment decides how they're going to portray us Latinos. And then the way we're portrayed are the way society globally perceives us, and then how we are treated in real life. And we're not always treated very well. So that's why we're both in DC, and we're a national organization. We're all over the place, but we focus a lot in DC, and of course, here in California, which is the media capital of the world.
Thank you. Yes, as a chair of a television film media studies department, yes, the importance of media representation and how we are all seen is very important. Brenda, you bring a lot of experience. When and why did you join the National Hispanic Media Coalition? What brought you there?
Well, I have to tell you, I've been involved with this organization since I was in my early 20s. I was going to a university, getting my education, and then I heard of this organization forming. So I was actually I was a volunteer, and I was actually at the first fundraiser that they had, signing in folks for the dinner dance, to raise funds so they can hire their first executive director and get the organization going. So I'm very unique that I have the past history, even if I didn't work for them. but I've held many hats with the organization. Later on, I was asked to come on as an advisory board member. I was asked to come on as a board. I actually was the chairwoman of the board for years. And then there was an opportunity and a shift in leadership, and I was asked if I would consider taking on the leadership role as president and CEO. And of course, I jumped on it. Social justice is embedded in me. And I thought, and I'm a feminist. So I said, it's about time after, 30 years that a woman run this organization. So I'm very honored to run the National Hispanic Media Coalition.
I love it. Well, given that you've been with the organization and have seen sort of different parts of it and seen it, how has it changed over time? What are some ways that it's evolved, especially under your leadership?
Well, from the very beginning, originally it was founded due to the lack of Latino anchors on local news. And what they would do, they would put the Latinos on as the weekend anchors, but not the weekdays, because they felt the audience would not be there for us and wouldn't tune in. And it's all about the audience and the Nielsen ratings, and of course, then advertising dollars. So that's why it originally started, right? And then, of course, how the news portrayed us and covered us, right? And how it's evolved tremendously, the work that we do, the policy work that we do in Washington, D.C., who would have known that there would be Twitter, that there would be, a YouTube, that there would be Instagram and Facebook. And these are all forms of media. And 40%, we're 40% of the population in California. All those social media companies are headquartered in Northern California. So that's how it's evolved. So we're very much involved with that. I think, our programs that we trained Latina creators definitely grew. You mentioned our writers program, over 20 years old. It's very well respected and well known around the world. So it's evolved a lot since I've taken over. It was interesting because I took over in 2020, January, and then 2 months later, COVID hit. So a lot of my plans and ideas of what I thought of didn't come to fruition like I thought in my head the first year, right? So we were, of course, like every other person, struggling during the pandemic, and but we got through, and because I have an amazing team, and now we're thriving. So very excited about what we're doing.
Right. We touched on this a little bit, but both the connection between your policy work and your media work, can you talk a little bit more about those efforts and their importance and how they sort of connect to each other in the work that you're doing perhaps right now?
Well, I think you mentioned you read our e-blast, right? So we sent out a communication this morning because we were very disappointed that on Friday, YouTube decided to change their policy in regards to the 2020 elections and disinformation that the elections were fraudulent. So everyone knows that's not true. And so they reversed their policy that now they're going to allow that. They're going to allow really lies to be on YouTube. And, that's not good for our community. That's not good when we're leading up to elections. And it just seems whenever there's elections, our communities, people of color, are targeted with disinformation. During the whole pandemic, they were targeting our community and other communities too, especially non-English communities. So we lead the Spanish language disinformation coalition. And that's where we hold agencies accountable. We hold platforms accountable, up to the White House. We also have Latinos in publishing that we just started this year with the support of Congressman Castro, because we noticed that publishing companies need to improve not only in hiring more Latinos in C-suite positions, but also, signing on Latino authors. It's very important for us to tell our own stories. I think you have up on the screen, Seen Beyond the Stereotypes, telling authentic Latino stories. So at the end of the year, we're going to be coming out with this guide for the entertainment industry. And it's an educational tool. It'll be at no cost on our website that anyone can download.
You mentioned the Spanish Language Disinformation Coalition. You have some other online advocacy programs like Stop Hate for Profit, Change the Terms. Could you talk a little bit about those?
Yeah, so we were one of the founding members of Change the Terms. And again, that was over 10 years ago, where we knew that we had to start working in we believe in coalition building. So it's a group of other advocacy organizations that work together towards making platforms accountable. Stop Hate for Profit was directly created by us, NAACP, ADL, LULAC, Common Cause, during the time that, and they still are, Mark Zuckerberg really just doesn't care about society, doesn't care about democracy. And profit, he definitely decides that profit is over, even lives. Look at the coup that happened on January the 6th. A lot of the planning of that was done on Facebook. So the organizations got together and we've been working towards that. There was one meeting with him in the very beginning with Mark Zuckerberg, but it was very clear that he was not interested in the well-being of society or the democracy of the United States.
You have your work cut out for you.
Yes, we do.
So let's talk about some of your signature programs, all the work you do to elevate Latinx talent. Talk about your scriptwriter program. 20 years. That's Terry mentioned it. It's really extraordinary. Why was that started? Why do you feel like this is a really important arm of your effort?
Well, Felicia's the director of all our programs and events. I'm going to let her talk about this.
Great, Felicia.
Yeah, of course. So the Serious Scriptwriters program is a really, really great system that we've created, and it's in its 21st year, so we're really proud of that. And it was really started because we know that you cannot tell authentic stories without the people who have those life experiences. So you can't tell Latino stories without Latino writers. So it was started in order to get those individuals who wanted to write those stories in the room because they didn't have the connections, their foot in the door. And that's exactly what the industry is all about, right? Networking, making sure that you have whatever connection it is to get into that space at all these major networks. So it was started with that in mind, and we've grown so much since. We have over 200 Latinx alumni as graduates of the program. And every year we select 10 diverse writers from all over the country. And I'm going to give this as a disclaimer for all of our programs, is that we've had to pivot a lot because of the pandemic and the way we had to change things. But it helped us reevaluate the systems that we had and how we were going to make sure that they were successful in handling like the virtual worlds that we all have to navigate through. So we decided to extend the program, and we no longer require individuals to come to Los Angeles to participate. You can participate from anywhere in the country. And we really bring in and utilize industry leaders that we've built connections with over time. And we've had some major successes. And I think you went through a few of the slides a little bit earlier as to who those alumni consist of. So we're really proud of this program, and we're just watching it grow.
And I think you might be.
Let me jump in about the importance of writers, because the writers become showrunners, the producers, many of them intersection with directors, and, we need to get more Latinos to own their own studios, so we produce our own work. And I want to get this in here because tomorrow, June the 9th, Flamin' Hot is going to premiere and on Hulu and Disney Plus. So everybody push play. But this is such a wonderful story. And we recently had a special screening, and we believe in collaborations, like I said. So we collaborated and co-hosted a special screening in Burbank with NALEAP, which is another marvelous organization that helps Latinos in the entertainment industry, along with Wilmer Valderrama. All three of us co-hosted this screening. And maybe, do you want to talk a little bit about the story, the background, and the director and actors, Felicia?
Yeah, sure. So we host screenings when we have the opportunity to do so. And this is definitely a project that we're all passionate about. We all know Flamin' Hot has a really big impact on a lot of Southern California lives. So, and over and beyond that. But we were able to not only bring in individuals from our own network, but like Brenda said, Wilmer's network, as well as Nalip, and then I believe individuals from Gold House were participating, because this story really transcends Latinos. It's not simply about us, but about community and about what it takes to build these sorts of camaraderie amongst individuals. So it's a family story, and like Brenda likes to say, it's definitely an American story. And rags to riches, that sort of aspect. So it's really well done, and we were lucky to be a part of this project in some ways, and highlight our Visionary Alliance member, Eva Longoria, along the way, and then Annie Gonzalez, who's a good friend of ours, and Jesse Garcia, who's also an actor in the film. So it was great.
Can't wait to see it.
And you know, I think for this particular screening, what we did, it tested very well in other communities. So like Felicia said, Nalip invited members of the Gold House. We had the Native American Media Alliance members there. We had members from the NAACP. We had members of Anti-Defamation League. And we wanted to fill that space with other communities, because the show is marvelous. And what we have in common with these other communities is resilience. And that's what makes us a superpower. So we show that we're interested in these type of shows that are written by Latinos. Yvette Chavez, directed by a Latina, Eva Longoria, 2 stars are Latino. And Devon Franklin, who is one of the producers and backed up the film, who's African-American. I think that this is going to be a hit, and it's just going to flood the doors open for other shows, just films like this. You know, I just noticed too, I think Diana Luna is here, who is the new executive director from Nalip, but I think she's viewing it, unless there's another Diana Luna that's on. Oh, and I noticed Yvette Rodriguez too, who is on the Academy Latinx committee for the Academy, is also on.
Joined by friends. Joined by friends.
Thank you for supporting us and being on, ladies.
Wonderful. All right, we'll talk. I know we want to get to questions, but we have so many more questions for you guys. The Latinx Stream Showcase is a big push. We actually have a little video. We have a trailer. Should we show the trailer?
Love that.
In a world where Latinx can connect and collaborate to create art, comes the National Hispanic Media Coalition's Latinx Stream Showcase, a place where Latinx talent can shine through writing, directing, acting, and everything that makes content come to life. Be sure to tune in this Latinx Heritage Month.
Yo, I booked it, right? You still don't know Spanish?
Whatever, at least I think our culture is cool.
Be the first person to die.
Now, who might that be?
Titi Yasmin.
How badly do you want a role that'll make you a star?
Ay, please. Save that Jerry Maguire bullshit for someone else, because I am done.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah. That's an important.
Dime con quién andas y te diré quién eres.
Nice.
Cruz, you should talk about that.
Yeah, the Latinx year we had for, I think it's been a little over a decade that we've been doing it, but originally it was the Latino Scene Showcase. And we used to do performances like on stage, and we would have Latino writers, Latino scenes, Latino directors, Latino actors. And, you know, then 2020 hit and the pandemic came, and we had to pivot again, like Felicia said. We had to figure out how to make these programs still work and benefit people, but adjust to the times. And so we decided to do a Latinx stream showcase and create a website, www.nhmcshowcase.org, pretty sure. You can go see the scenes. We've started filming and we're in the process of editing our current ones for the next one. And we decided to make it something that was on camera. Same thing, writers writing scenes, but this time directors and actors, the same thing, Latinos, but now we could get, below the line talent to be people from different communities. And it was a chance to showcase talent on multiple levels. And it actually worked out in the end because, a lot of these people are looking for actors that can be on camera for television and film. And so what's wonderful about this is they get to see you act on television and film. And these scenes, they're really wonderful. They're really great. It's like such a long, hard process to go through everything that is sent because everybody's really talented. And then just to narrow it down to specific ones, it's tough. But it's a lot of good stuff. There is a lot of talented Latinos out there from multitudes of backgrounds. And our showcase is here to showcase them, amp them up, get them out there.
I love it. I love it. And below the line is so important as well as on camera. It's a big push for us in our department as well. Okay, we have one other initiative and then the Visionary Alliance, of course. I noticed the Netflix Created By initiative. That looks like a relatively new initiative.
It is. Yeah, I can talk about that. So Netflix reached out to us along with several other organizations to gather alumni, and you'll see them on the screen right now, those who were selected in this process. And they were to submit a script, a feature, or a pilot. And then those selected participants were going to be able to have a blind script deal with Netflix. So that product was purchased and will be created, which we're very excited about. And the individuals who were selected were our alumni, Jeffrey Nieves, along with his writing partner, Emily Islami, and then Zoila Galeano. And then we also had an additional, and it was supposed to be two selections from each organization. And the reason we have a third is because through the Native American Media Alliance, one of the other participating organizations, they selected Diego Moreno, who happens to also be an alumni of our writers program. So we were actually able to have 3 alumni participate in this program. So it was really great. And we're excited to see what comes of this partnership. It just was announced earlier in January. So of course we know all the time it takes to make projects. So we're excited to see what comes of this.
I love this. It's so huge in terms of just, getting it on another platform and taking those alumni to the next level. I think it's extraordinary. It's great.
Yeah, definitely. Making those connections and networking, that was definitely another aspect of this that we really try to push throughout all of our programming. So the showcase and then the writers program is really connecting and networking, even through if they weren't selected, maybe they'll have another opportunity in the future, right? They have that connection, they have that person they were working with or interviewed with or whatever the case is. So we're always really trying to highlight our alumni and give them all of these opportunities.
So you have a very glamorous Visionary Alliance. So this work, you all are doing so much. I mean, I'm sure that anybody listening and watching this webinar is aware of there's this, and then there's the policy, and there's the showcase, and there's so much that you all are doing. So obviously you have some strong allies in your Visionary Alliance. How is that a long-standing alliance? Is this a new alliance? You have some very glamorous people and names here. How does that work?
Well, this is one of the things that I wanted to start back in 2020, and then the pandemic hit and it slowed us down. So we launched this year finally in 2023, and some of our alliance members is Ana Navarro, the co-host of The View, Aubrey Plaza, Danny Pino, Diana Guerrero, Eva Longoria, Francia Raiza, Gabriel Luna, Gina Torres, the fabulous Gloria Calderon-Colette, Harvey Guillén, Ismael Cordova, Justina Machado, Lin Manuel, Lisa Vidal, Rosario Dawson, Wilmer Valderrama, Wilson Cruz from Star Trek and Oscar winner, producer of Encanto, Yvette Marino. So these are successful Latinos that are in the business, and they're leaders in their own creative space who support NHMC's mission throughout the year. Members will also support the advocacy work that we do to connect and collaborate and create opportunities for Latinx talent through our scriptwriters programs and all the other programs and screenings that we do and panels that we do. They're also going to be, though, involved with the advocacy work that we do in Washington, D.C., and work for social justice, engage with supporters to amplify its impact and the other initiatives that we're working on.
Fantastic. As somebody who also started a leadership role right before the pandemic started, I feel you. But it's nice. I feel like this year especially, it's finally we can kind of start doing, and I can see from your organization too, like so much work has happened this year. I should be proud. Okay, I'm going to now focus even more on our Cal State grads. Okay, so we need to hear more from the Cal State grads,
Yes.
and I'd like to hear a little bit from each of you, a little bit about the work you do. Maybe a little bit about your journey that brought you to NHMC, or a little bit about the work you do. Your choice. Tell us a little bit more about you. And Leila, why don't you start? I want to hear more from you.
All right, sounds great. So I first started at Cal Poly Pomona in fall 2017, straight out of high school. And I wasn't going to school for media or anything even remotely close to the subject. I'm actually an early childhood education and development major with an emphasis both in infant toddler studies and visual performing arts curriculum. My first year at Cal Poly, I immediately joined a Latina sorority, Alpha Pi Sigma. And I took on every position you could possibly take on. I was the treasurer, sunshine chair, fundraising chair, sergeant at arms. But I think the biggest role that I took on, which is kind of what led me to NHMC, is our annual Adelitas conference. I held this position for 3 years, and this was a women's conference that we would put on every year. We would bring in local high school and transfer students, and we'd inspire them to pursue a higher education through various workshops, guest speakers, offering scholarship opportunities. And the first year I threw this conference, I brought on Congresswoman Antonia Hernandez as one of our keynote speakers. And my second year, I was thinking, who am I going to get now? Like, that was my big bang. I need to figure out something else. And I actually asked Brenda to speak. And after that second conference is kind of when I got a little bit more involved with NHMC. I learned a little bit more about who they are, what we do. And I was referred to the fellowship program, and that's when I started in the beginning of 2020. I was an executive executive assistant fellow, sorry. And I think one of the biggest things that I learned from this is about networking, making connections. I didn't really know what I was going to do at NHMC. It wasn't anywhere in my scope of what I wanted to do, but I figured it doesn't hurt just to make connections. You never know who you're going to meet. And after my fellowship, I left for a little bit, but I had to come back. This past year, I was talking to Brenda. She offered me this position to come back, and it was one of the best decisions I made. Nowhere near what I studied, but I love being here. I'm the partnerships development manager, and pretty much my focus is on creating new partnerships and nurturing relationships that we already have with foundations, corporations, other organizations that we work with. So making sure we have the funds to keep NHMC going and working on grants, other methods to secure funding. But at a small nonprofit, you're not really just doing your position, you're touching on everyone's position. There is no, oh, well, that's your job, that's my job. You are absolutely everywhere. So yeah, I'm glad that I loved going to school. I loved Cal Poly. I still love my major. I'm actually hoping to bring a younger perspective to NHMC and hopefully somehow bring in an education program, so for younger students. So that's something that I'm kind of looking forward to.
I love that. I love that. And I hope that any students who are listening understand what you're saying about networking, not knowing where life is going to take you, seizing those opportunities, and following your mission, even if your mission leads you into unexpected directions. Great. Cruz, Felicia, now Cruz, were you, I think I learned from you that you were the president of our Golden Eagle Film Festival here at Cal State LA, but you somehow also got involved in some film stuff. Did that lead you towards NHMC?
Uh, yeah, yes, I was the president of Cinematic Visions, the film club at the time at Cal State LA. But along with like Dylan Kincaid and Araceli Velasco, they were also right there with me. I couldn't have done anything if it wasn't for them. So we were like a trifecta. And we did the Golden Eagle Film Festival 2015, because I believe it was in spring. It was the last semester, it was like the last thing we did. We had a DeLorean there and everything. It was amazing. That was the dream, was to just bring this DeLorean. Everything else was second. But it was a good film festival. There's a lot of Latinos at Cal State LA, and a lot of Latinos that are hungry and making films and making really good stuff too. So it was really cool to help bring together a film festival like that showcased their stuff. I think that's why like I care so much about Latinx Dream Showcase. It's like I get to do a film festival, you know what I mean, every year again for Latinos and showcase, you know, the really good talent we got. But yeah, I graduated 2015. I was interpersonal communication. Actually, my Cal State journey starts at Cal State Fullerton, where Felicia's an alumni from, but I got expelled from Cal State Fullerton. But I made it up because I got back to the Cal State LA. So I made it. And I went through multiple majors. I think I was a film, I was archaeology or anthropology. I was English, like I was a whole bunch of stuff. And I think I landed on communication because I like the study of people, and I wanted to see how people work. And like, if you understand people, you understand the basis for like any kind of job or career you want to get into. And I think it led me to, I come from an activist family. Everybody is very, very loud and very vocal about their opinions. And I think NHMC was just natural. You know what I mean? Like I'm Latino, I'm Native, and NHMC is just very vocal and upfront about, you know, supporting and uplifting that community. I think it was just like it was an easy fit. I was already, you know, just very engrossed in going to protests. Like I think Brenda and Felicia, you guys met through a protest, right? It was like a protest that we all went to, like everyone's just activists here. And so it was natural.
Felicia, can you tell us more about this protest?
Yeah, this is Brenda's favorite story of me. So we met at a protest, I want to say, probably like 2016, 17, no, I think 16 or 17. And then the following weekend,
you gotta add that it was pouring rain.
Oh, it was.
We're walking the streets from Boyle Heights to the police station. Very
and
competitive.
then yes, we were. I was freezing. I was shivering. It was terrible. And it was raining, and I met Brenda and the then president of NHMC, Alex Nogales, and the following weekend we ran into each other again at the Women's March, I believe. So it was something that was new to me, and going back to my Cal State experience, going to college was the first time I'd ever heard of the term social justice. And I was able, and I heard it in my American Studies classes. As I started to venture into that, it was an elective, and I absolutely fell in love with the study of the intersection of race, gender, and class, and its effects on American culture and culture in general. So that's where my passions lie, and along with art, all kinds of forms of art. And I think part of that sparked my desire to support people in education. So I worked at a high school and middle school. I've also worked at a community college, and that's because I just wanted to share with other individuals this wonderful thing that we have all experienced through university, and that is education. It's such a powerful tool for people to just elevate themselves and just go beyond what they ever thought possible. And I actually ended up at Cal State Fullerton because I couldn't afford to go to my other choice, which was San Diego State. So I couldn't travel down there. But I think it was a good thing because American Studies is one of the few, Cal State Fullerton is one of the few campuses on the West Coast with American Studies. So I think it worked out in that way. So that's a little bit about my journey. And I will also say, if, you know, to the students that are on here, please make sure you get involved in your campus community, because that was one thing that I did not do. I was very much a commuter and very much I'm going to school and work and I'm going to graduate and that's all. And I really wish I would have done that and had those experiences like Leila and Cruz have, and being part of all of these wonderful communities. But yeah, it got me here because I was able to, I've worked in nonprofits since I've graduated from college, and I've done AmeriCorps, I did community college, and then I landed here. So it's been a bit of a journey, but I think overall my passions overrode everything, and I'm able to do something that I love, and I never thought I would be doing. I never thought I would be working in entertainment. That was definitely not where I expected to land, but I really do enjoy the community and the people that I'm able to network with and all of those wonderful things.
Yeah, education can be very transformative. I mean, that's the goal for all of our students and for alumni as well. I want to talk more to everybody, but I think we have some questions from the audience. But before we get to them, I just wanted to ask all of you, what's next? What's now, having accomplished so much this year? What is next for NHMC? What do you see for the future?
Well, I think like Leila said, these education programs, right? We want to start incorporating different things. I know we've definitely been trying to navigate through incorporating new programming, because we know there's such a need in several different areas. Brenda, did you want to expand on that a little bit?
I think also NHMC, since we really build coalitions, we really are looking forward to working with other media organizations in supporting our series, our films, our Latinx creators as a whole. I also want to pitch for everyone to get on Amazon Prime, the show With Love, the series. You're going to fall in love with Love, and it follows the Diaz siblings, Lily and Jorge, who are on a mission to find love and purpose. And, you know, as Latinos, we love to be in love. It's a phenomenal show, but at the same time, it's shining a light on various issues and on marginalized communities. And I know this last weekend, I watched all the series in one evening. I stayed up till like 1 a.m. It's so good. And, you know, it talks about LGBTQ+, trans, Latinx culture, dementia, and much more. And you're entertained while being educated. So I really recommend that series. And also, you know, it's produced by our showrunner and producer, Gloria Calderon-Colette, who's a Visionary Alliance member of NHMC.
Love it. And then there's a special event coming up also in September, right?
Yeah, our big event, our one we work towards the entire year, which is our Impact Awards Gala. This event always stresses me out, but it's always so much fun. I love seeing all of these just Latino talent, these just individuals that sometimes they don't even know each other. They've never even met each other, which is so interesting to see, because through these events, we're cultivating a community. And I think that that's really like just a really big part of the work that we do. But I really enjoy our events.
Well, we have a lovely video, but maybe let's take some takes. Should we show the video? Maybe take some questions first, show the video next. Oh, you want to show the video now, Brenda? All right, let's see the video. Let's see the video, then we're going to take some questions. Looks amazing. Yeah, that would stress me out too, Felicia, planning that. That looks amazing. You know, you gotta celebrate the wins. You gotta celebrate the wins. Yeah, that looks like a really like a wonderful event. All right. we've got
September 7th.
September 7th.
At the Beverly Hilton Hotel.
September 7th. All right, we have time for I think a couple of questions from our lovely audience, and some of these were sent in advance. One question that I think is kind of important, as consumers, just a consumer, are there ways to advocate as a consumer?
I think and maybe Cruz can speak to this a little bit more, but the power of social media is such a huge like outlet for people to advocate for their projects. I know like we're talking about Flamin' Hot and it's coming out on Friday. Like I've text messaged my friends, I've mentioned it to people in passing. I have group chats that I'm just making sure to put it out there and then share like posts and, you know, information about it. You know, people love to hear your perspective on things, and then just to share it on those platforms that you have, you know, hundreds, thousands, whatever of followers who are checking in and keeping up and wanting to know what's going on, and like, oh, okay, I'll check out this movie. I'll be home on Friday, whatever the case is, right? It's a very casual thing, but it allows you to share so many resources that way.
Great. What advice, ask one person, what advice would you give to new graduates that are pursuing a career in film?
Maybe not necessarily in film, but as a very recent graduate in spring 2022, so very recent, network with everyone and anyone. You never know who you're going to end up meeting. And a lot of times what I've noticed in this industry is it's a lot about who you know. Making those connections is very important. So even if it's nowhere near your industry or where you're going or your major, network, take that opportunity.
Anybody else? Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I think I'm gonna second that one. I think, yeah, talk to everybody. Everybody. Like network and meet everybody, because I mean, what's the whole point of Flamin' Hot is that guy's a janitor, and now he invented like one of the best snacks like around the world that everybody eats, not just Latinos and Mexicans, but like everybody. Yeah, talk to everybody. Everybody's important.
And I would just say, before you graduate, you should be involved in doing internships and fellowships, because that puts you in real world settings and it helps you decide, oh, this is not for me. Oh, this interests me very much.
And I will add on that note that NHMC does have fellowships throughout the year in policy, as well as in our LA office on the entertainment side.
Okay, good to know. Yes, we had one question about internships, so there you go. Person who's interested in internships, there is one to pursue. So we have some writing questions too. What advice would you give for writing a screenplay and being authentic to my own perspective? Boy, this could be a couple hours right here, but any advice for screenwriters? Another question related to this issue is, how do you navigate telling stories that are true to the Latinx culture, and can also include everybody's, you know, by including everyone's struggle? How do you navigate telling your own story, being true to your culture?
This is for you, Cruz.
Okay, yeah, I was trying to think of what to say, because so you said it would, like, this could take hours. For sure, this is a very convoluted, multi-layered question. But I do believe in the write what you know, especially when you're starting off. Like, write what you know. Guaranteed that no one's ever had an experience like you have. People will probably have similar experiences, but not exactly the same as you. And keep it simple. Sometimes I think writers, we get stuck in our head and we want to like just compile and like cramp a bunch of stuff together. But sometimes the most like simplistic messages, the most like simplistic stories are the ones that are going to really go far. Like Flaming Hot, again, it's a very simple story. It's just about like a family trying to survive and they find a way. Like With Love is about people who are just trying to find love and they're just trying to make relationships happen. So like at the core root of it, it's just keeping a simple story and write what you love. You know, I'm sure Gloria Keller and all the writers, they've searched for love many times in their lives. You know what I mean? And the same thing with Richard and his family and everybody who wrote, what is it, Chavez, right? Linda Yvette Chavez that wrote Flamin' Hot. They've all been like Latinos that have struggled and they had to find ways to survive and just make something happen. And I think that's the same that applies with just writing. Write what you know. Find a way to make a story that you care about and that speaks to you. And as much as you wanted to speak to the Latinidad and as like the group as a whole, there are like multitudes and communities within Latinidad. So people will find the similarities in the differences. Like I guarantee you, they will find them. So just don't worry about trying to like fit in and fit everybody's voice into like one story. Write in and focus on what you know. And I guarantee you people, what's that movie? Build it and they will come. Like just write it and they will come. I guarantee it.
Felicia, we have a question for you. Is there some advice you'd offer for students who are interested in working in event and program coordination? Where should they start? And maybe for Leila.
You know, I got my start on a weird, like, I was hired on as a project specialist at a community college in their newly developed student equity and diversity department. And then I just got put in charge of events, cultural events on campus. It was a selection that I made. And then I've just grown into this position. So I didn't necessarily choose it, but this is kind of where I've found my path. In terms of specifically working for events, I would say, you know, just look for those fellowships and internships that are going to give you that sort of experience. We have one ourselves, so you can support me if you want and apply for that specific internship. But I would look in that realm and really just try to get, and it doesn't necessarily mean that it's got to have events in the title. I think doing something that's organization wise or like showcasing that, you know, you have the elements of being an event planner. Like I feel like everybody on this team supports me in a lot of different ways. So they all have the talent and assets it takes to coordinate events. I think it's just trying to get those specific opportunities, but also maybe not trying sometimes and just going in another direction as to where you want to apply them. Like I specifically enjoy like working for the Latino community and being able to spotlight representation. So if you have a different passion and then just applying, you know, those event planning skills in that way, if that makes sense.
I know we're practically out of time, so we'll just end with one other involvement question. One viewer is wondering how they can get involved and volunteer. Are there opportunities for volunteers? How can all of us support your mission? What can we do?
So in terms of volunteers, we need them throughout the year for little things, but we don't necessarily pool volunteers for a lot of events. We have our staff, or we'll have like people that, you know, contractors, things that we utilize in that way. I think in terms of supporting the organization, attending events or keeping up with what we're doing in terms of like our e-blasts and things like that, to support in the programming in those ways. Brenda, did you have something?
Yeah, to be specific, I would go to our website and sign up for our e-blast like you're getting them, right, Doctor? Because we do have sometimes opportunities for free screenings of films. So first come, first serve when we send out those e-blast. There's, you know, a lot of films coming out and we hope to partner with some of the studios. So we hope to have more screenings. I think just being educated in the work that we're doing, sometimes there's sign-on letters to the White House that you can sign on to. Also follow us on social media and you'll find out what we're doing. And sometimes there's action to some of these. So the first action is everybody tomorrow to get on Hulu and Disney Plus and push play. We got to show them that these are films that we want to see more of. Also this weekend, get on Amazon Prime and, watch the series like I did with Love. We have Blue Beetle coming out. Go to the movies for Blue Beetle in August. In July, we have, what's that horror film that's coming out, Cruz, from Blumhouse?
The horror of
that's a
Dolores
series.
Roach.
Okay,
Yes.
that's a series on Amazon Prime that'll come out starring Justina Machado. And then there's another film that Justina's in called Throwback.
Throwback.
That's
Yes,
coming
I
out.
just went to the screening of that. It was great. Highly suggest it when it comes out. Go watch it. Wonderful.
So
then also we got like Transformers coming out this weekend.
yes,
That's a Latino lead. And then we have Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. That's about an Afro-Latino. That's Miles Morales.
so support our films, our series, our music, buy books when they're written by Latino authors and when they're on Latino stories not written by Latinos. Do not purchase it. Do not go see those films. Let's show our power.
Great. Thank you so much, Brenda, Cruz, Leila, Felicia, and Dr. Hackel. This was an amazing conversation. I'm so proud of the work that the NHMC is doing for our community. And as Brenda said, and everyone, her staff, support Latino projects. We can only do this for ourselves as a community. We are the majority minority, so let's change that. And let's move forward. And thank you again, Brenda. Brenda and I've known each other for a very long time, and I love seeing all the work she's doing. And she just makes me so proud of everything she's doing for our community and rising others up as well, like Felicia, Cruz, and Leila. So thank you all, and look for the recording of this when it gets sent to you. And we will see you at our next seminar. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.